What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we do always start the show by being transparent. Yesterday, I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed with the losers that I had. It was one of my smaller bets, but it's still a bet, and it shouldn't have been there, I guess. Storm plus 12 and a half. They are terrible. And it was a bad bet because I know how bad the Storm are. I know I justified it by, I had a trend or a query, and a lot of those teams were bad teams that were covering. But without the two bigs, Malonga and Izzy, the Storm are even more trash. They're already trash, but you know they couldn't do anything. I got the kind of game I expected out of Dallas. They shot what 5 for 25, something like that for three. I mean, they didn't have a good offensive game at all. That's what I expected, but the Storm are just that bad. So loser for me on Storm plus 12 and a half. Vino, hopefully you at least won something yesterday.
I did ski. I finally broke the 3-day WNBA curse, and it wasn't with that game because I was with you. I was just in a different form of that game. I had Dallas team total over, never close. I know we did a little bit of misery texting back and forth during that game, but I was happy with the later game because I had the Lynx over 84 and a half, and they made that look simple. There's something wrong with Phoenix. Talked about it a little bit yesterday. They just can't score right now. They don't defend. Alyssa Thomas has had maybe three subpar games in a row. Duana Bonner's been absolutely worthless at this point. Her minutes have gone way down. That one made me happy, and it kind of broke the string here. So I'm looking forward to getting going here this week and getting back on the right foot again.
Yeah, it seems like I don't know. They just want to hold hands over there in Phoenix, and I mean, drove Satu away, and now team is not looking so great. So um, I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk about Phoenix again soon. But for today, we do have four games on the slate. We'll start with Connecticut and Atlanta. Opened up 14 and a half. Still looks like 14. Total open 159 and a half. And I mean, it's all over the place. I see it anywhere between 160 and a half and 161 and a half. So we'll call it 161, I guess, right now. For Connecticut, Edwards is out. For Atlanta, Bree is still out. Um, man, Vino, I can't help but think, I had been saying Connecticut was going to be pretty bad until they got their point guard back. Now they got their point guard back. Um, I don't know. I feel like they've been looking a little bit better. They looked good in the game before she came back versus I forget who it was. I think it was the Sparks, something like that. They looked good versus them, and then they looked good again in their last game. They won their last game. So is it going to be a little bit of a letdown? Are the Suns still undervalued? This is a dream team who does have the rest advantage, and a dream team who has. I don't remember. I think they're coming off. No, they won, but prior to that, they weren't playing the best basketball. I think so. I want to say there's still value on the Sun. I do, even though I know they're not the better team. I just think that the number is so high because of how bad they were before Layla came back. Now that she's back, makes me want to just continue to bet them until the market catches up. What do you think here, Vino?
All right, so let me ask you because this crossed my mind. I go back to yesterday, and maybe that query that you read was 9-0 yesterday. It's 9-1 today. But I'm thinking to myself, Connecticut probably fits that query, right? I'm not sure what it was. It was like crappy teams plus this many points, where it's something along those lines, where Connecticut's kind of like in the same position Seattle was in last night. That's what I'm trying to get to here. And maybe the Seattle play was just a day too early, and the play works here with Connecticut plus 14. I think, to your point, Connecticut closed that really long West Coast road trip, 71-61 loss to Portland. They didn't look bad in that game. They lost by 10, but they didn't look terrible. Then they did come home, got Layla back, got both centers back too, Skee, Griner and Nelson Adota now. So at least they have some form. Griner's not the defender she used to be, but at least they have some type of presence with two centers at the rim now that are healthy again, and a point guard to go with it. Atlanta, we've talked about it a little bit, how they play slower pace. I think I was on their team total in their last game, and it didn't get over. Uh, but I do remember you kind of giving me a little bit of a caution flag or warning flag that you didn't like the way Atlanta offensively looked at this point in time, especially the slowish nature of their offense. They don't necessarily want to push tempo. Brittany Griner, and I was trying to think, Skee, and I didn't look it up, but I believe she played for Atlanta last year, so it could be
Yeah.
somewhat of a homecoming here for her. Um, Matched up with Angel Reese. So I'd expect a pretty decent game out of Griner. I think I could make a legitimate case for taking 14 here. Atlanta is really good defensively. That's the one thing that scares me is Connecticut still doesn't have a bunch of shooters, but Morrow has been a double-double machine so far this year. So they've got some capability in this one, and maybe 14, like you say, is a number that's more built on what Connecticut has done so far this year, which hasn't really looked good. But now that they're healthy, maybe we're getting a little bit of value taking this many points.
Yeah. So I look at it like that. And just to, you know, but the way I was looking at the system or the way I was looking at the yesterday's game was more of a fade of Dallas because they had been, playing so well and just beat two really good teams. And maybe overlooking the storm. That's kind of what that bet was. This bet today would be there's just still value on the Sun because how poor they were to start the season and getting their best player back, in my opinion. They still haven't caught up. So a little bit different. Just might get there on the Sun tonight. Next one is Sky and Mystics. Open 162 and a half, and is we'll call it 160 because it is all over the place in this one as well. Um, we had a flip of favorites. It opened Mystics minus 1.5. We now see Chicago minus 1.5 or two, depending where you shop. For the injury report, there's no Dejanay, no Gabby, no Sloot for Chicago. For Washington, Sonia Citron is going to be out of the lineup. And, you know, this is one where usually if I look at this and if any other two teams played, I'll be betting over just because of how they poor both of these teams shot last game. But this Mystics team, man, you know what kind of players I like, and they don't have any. They don't have any. I mean, they can't shoot. And Chicago's not small. They have the size to be able to, protect the paint here versus them. I think the Mystics are going to struggle to score. Um, and they've been a team that's been failing to hit 30% from three every game. So it's like, are we really going to get some positive regression? I think that's just how they shoot. For the Sky, I mean, we all know how banged up they've been, but when it boils down to it, I think they have a few more players on their side that I trust. You know, Skylar, Tasha Cloud. I like the combination of Azare and Cardosa. Even though Azare hasn't been playing that well to start this year, coming off the injury, she could find a rhythm here. I think the Sky are the right side. I think the market is moving in the right direction. And yeah, that's what I think about this game. What do you think?
I could almost repeat everything you said. I mean, when I wrote this game up, and I did get there with the Sky, but for a lot of the reasons that you said, Ski, they haven't been on the good end of a matchup so far this year. And a lot of that's due to the fact that the lineup's been ravaged, right? Injuries have just taken the Sky. You've talked about it before, what they look like on paper in the preseason to what they look like now. But still, as you mentioned, man, I mean, Washington, they have no shooters. Now they have less than no shooters without Citron in the lineup. I don't know if there's a less than zero, but it's just bad for Washington. And they're so front court dependent on their scoring. But I'll repeat Chicago matches up well inside. I mean, Cardoso at 6'7", Azare in their 6'4". They do match up really well against what Washington's strength is. Washington also wants to slow the game down. Chicago's the second fastest pace in the league, and I feel like with Skylar Diggins at point, Chicago's more capable no matter what pace is played here. She can control it and get them into half court and get them buckets in the half court, or they could take defensive rebounds and just run. And I don't think Washington can handle that. So a lot of advantages here. I think, when you have Cloud and JC Sheldon on the defensive end. That just takes a bad Washington shooting team and makes them worse because those two are pretty good defenders. So I'm on Chicago. Like I say, a lot of the same reasons as you. Asking them to win by a bucket, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility here. Yeah, the Citron injury probably, or at least, like I say, the way I'm looking at it on paper, should really limit what Washington could do. Their scoring options are just limited.
Yeah, so we're in agreement on this game. I think we can move it on over to Golden State. We have the Fire and the Valkyries opened up -8.5, I believe, for Golden State. See it at 9 pretty much everywhere right now. Total has plummeted from 164.5 as low as 158. 158 is the lowest I'm seeing right now. And it is all over the place. So it's a lot of line shopping you should be doing today because a lot of different numbers at different books here. Portland, nobody on the injury report for Golden State. Burton is game time decision. That could be a big miss for them. Veno, this Portland team, I've had a hard time just getting a good read on them. This game, they do come in, off a couple days rest. They did just beat the Fever as what a double digit dog in that game. The Fire have been pretty competitive outside of that game versus the Dream. Um, and this Valkyries team, I believe they've been the best shooting team, at least above the break three. They've been killing it. They are coming off a loss versus the Aces, but outside of that, they've been playing really well. They've shown a way better ability to score the ball this season, I feel like, than last season. They're just shooting the ball really well. So this game is tough. With the Valkyries coming off the loss, I do expect really good effort. This is their fourth straight home game, too. But the Fire, I don't know. They just continue to play hard and play tough defense. It just doesn't. It doesn't. Won't feel good if I have -9 in my pocket, even though I think the Valkyries can win. I just think that Portland's going to fight, and if I think that it's an under game, I think that Portland's in the game. Vino, how are you looking at Valkyries and Fire?
Well, I got in this morning ski early. It was 162.5. I played under, and it's just gone down, down, down since then. I'll give you first off, that 100-point game against Indiana the other night, there's just no way Portland could duplicate the shooting in that game. Anybody who watched that thing just saw everything they chucked up went in the basket. It was kind of crazy. I think it's pretty tough to replicate, especially against Golden State, which is a good defensive team. They rank number 3 in the W in defensive rating. They've only allowed 42.5% from the field overall this season, and they play the slowest tempo of anybody. So I think that the Fire, that 100-point outburst, a little bit of a mirage. I did come up with a comp game for this one. If you're Portland, the comp game for Portland would be when they played Atlanta. Atlanta is a top 3 defense in the league, just like Golden State, and Atlanta plays ultra slow, just like Golden State. And in that game, Portland only scored 66 points. The total landed 152. It's the only top 5 defensive team Portland's played all season long. Otherwise, they haven't played one. Now, the counter to that is Portland's pretty good at defending the 3. Number 5 in the league, defending the 3-point percentage, 5th best. And the Valkyries, they live off of 3-pointers. This is crazy, Skee. They shoot better percentage-wise this year from beyond the arc than they do inside the arc. Their 2-point percentage is worse than their 3. And Portland does happen to defend the 3 pretty well. Golden State, I had to go through the weeds here, but they played 7 straight teams that are ranked 8th or worse in 3-point percentage defense. Portland, like I said before, they're number 5 3-point defense. So it's the second best one they faced all season long. So Portland could slow them down a little bit, make them miss a few shots here. I think if you're Golden State, you just played the top 2 scoring teams in the league. 3 of your last 4 games, you played Indiana and Las Vegas in 3 of the last 4. Now you get Portland. I think they can limit them. The Veronica Burton thing obviously is huge to boot if you like under. But I think it's a slower tempo game, less field goal chances, less chances from the field, and a team that actually can defend the 3, which Golden State hasn't seen much of this year. So I played under 162.5. again, if you're going to play it, you've lost a lot of value. Skee gave you the opener, which was even higher than 62.5. I didn't get in on the open, but people have bet it way, way down here. I don't know if I could recommend it as highly at this price, Skee. It's kind of like the game you had the other day where the number just came down, 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 right? Maybe it was a Sparks Washington game or something. Um,
Yes.
but
Yes.
I did get in on this. It seems like the same type of deal here.
I remember that one. Um, good, lot of good points by you. Let's keep it going to the last game on the slate. Aces and Sparks opened up -7 for Las Vegas. We see 7.5 mostly. Total open 160, 176.5. I'm sorry. And I see it as low as 174.5 out there. Injury wise, you have Kelsey Plum still out for the Sparks. You have Kennedy Carter, Joel Lloyd, both game time decision, and they'll continue to be without Dana Evans. Vino, this is one I'm going to pass to you first, and I want to ask you if your opinion on the game, if you have any opinion on anything that's happening or whatever you've heard, if you've heard anything on Kennedy Carter.
Well, I've read some stuff on Kennedy Carter. Asia Wilson is not real pleased with her at this point in time. And it's a shame, too, Skee, because all kidding aside, Kennedy Carter has been great offensively for this team, but she just can't seem to get along with anybody. Score 17 and a half a game, but bitch about your minutes. Have Asia Wilson in your face trying to get you to be a team player. I just don't know what her deal is. They played without Jewel Lloyd in their last game. It was against Golden State, right? It was Sunday, I think. They played without Jewel Lloyd. And Kennedy Carter only got 7 minutes and change in that game. Wasn't really a factor. And they still scored 91 against Golden State. Starting lineup did everything. If you can get 91 against Golden State without Jewel Lloyd, with Carter playing limited time, then you get 91 against the Sparks because they give it up. They just gave up 84 to Connecticut. They are the worst field goal percentage team, or excuse me, defensive rating team in the league by far. I think their number was like 114.4. The next closest was 110. So the Sparks' worst defensive team. It just doesn't get any better for them. They give up 93 points a game, 93 and a half to be exact. So I could see Las Vegas scoring big. The first time these two met, obviously they were a little bit healthier because Kelsey Plum played, but the game hit 196. And here we're looking at 174 and a half. I just, for me, it was kind of simple. I've set a baseline with the Sparks. I think I said this about the Fever as well. Like, I just don't see why every single Fever game doesn't start at 173 and a half. And I don't know why every Sparks game, no matter who's involved, doesn't start at 174 and a half. Yeah, they don't have Kelsey Plum, but we've seen for 2 games now that scoring isn't really a problem for them, even without Kelsey Plum. It's their defense just stinks, period. And it wouldn't surprise me if Asia should have a good game inside. They're not that big inside. I could see Las Vegas getting 90 plus. LA trying to match them because still the backcourt is still capable, right? I mean, Erica Wheeler and Ariel Atkins can still score. You have NECA. You've got Hamby. There's a lot of scorers still on this team. To me, Skee, I think it's really simple. I just think that the number, I kind of bet against the number here. The numbers showed me 174 and a half, and I'm thinking to myself, these two teams, that's kind of a baseline for them. And when you give me both of these defenses, I don't think I mentioned that Las Vegas's defense has been no great shakes either. Number 9 in the league, bottom echelon in defensive ratings. So they're giving up 87 and a half per game, probably because they can outscore most people. If either Carter or Lloyd, either one plays, makes the play a little bit stronger. But I have to believe that this one gets over. I mean, they tend to have a history, and I didn't go back and look at their like 2-3 year history, but it just comes to my mind that they always play high scoring games, these two teams. So I think I like over here.
Um, Man, interesting. Interesting, very, very interesting. Yeah, Carter, game time decision. Lloyd, game time decision. Really is Carter who I would win in. And, I think that the Aces have been really good because, or a lot of the reason why is because, they have the best bench. She comes in and gives you basically almost 20 points. What is it, 17 points per game she's
Yeah.
averaging? Um, you look at they've covered every game, I believe, as a road favorite in the first half. I think a lot of that is, the second units come in and you still got to deal with Kennedy Carter. Like, I don't know. I, if I'm playing this game, I would like to know that she's in. If she is, I would look towards Ace's first half. If she's out, I would not feel really good about this game. A random thing I looked up, the Aces, after a loss, Becky usually chews them out, right? They come out and they win. Then after that win, it looks like maybe they just usually continue playing defense. Um, Let me go back to this random thing I found. What was it? All right, Aces, when they won their last game and lost the game before that, they're 11-2 to the under since the beginning of last season. And all we see after those losses is Becky chewing out her team, saying we need to play defense or we need to do that. And then they come back and win and continue that effort. So if Kennedy's out and Kelsey Plum's out, I kind of feel a little bit different here. I think that it could be more of an under game. So I'm gonna wait on the injury report. If Kennedy's in, Ace's first half looks really good to me. I'm gonna say that. Also, outside of the things that we mentioned, this is Sparks' first game home after a road trip, right? Not the greatest of spots for them. They just 4 games on the road. They're coming from Connecticut back to LA. That's not the greatest spot. I know the Aces have been on the road, but they're going from Golden State to LA. I mean, that's right next door.
Yeah.
So any last thoughts on that or anything else you want to add, or can we wrap it up here?
Yeah, I think good points both ways, Skee. I think, in my opinion, is just off of what I've seen of LA without Kelsey Plum. I think I'm fading both defenses here, especially the Sparks defense, which just is a sieve. And these games, we probably will mention this every day, but they're still cup games, and I feel like the Aces, they didn't win. I don't think they won the cup last year. I'm forgetting who won it. But I feel like maybe they would like to win it this year. They've won it once, but I don't think it was last year.
Yeah, I
The
can't remember
Lynx have
either.
won it once, but somebody else besides them won it. So maybe, after all of this, and maybe a Las Vegas team total would work. But I'm with you that Kennedy Carter has been a key. I mean, after the shooting you and I watched between Seattle and Dallas last night,
Oh my
Kennedy
god.
Carter looks like a heck of an offensive basketball player.
Yeah, that like I said, I was losing brain cells watching that game last night. But my thoughts really quick on Kennedy Carter. I understand what people want to say as far as, she doesn't get along or she has this reputation, right? Kennedy Carter is amazingly talented. She's doing shit that maybe two or three people in the league can do right now. She's shooting 67% from the field. Like, bro, she's better than all these fucking girls. And she knows she's better than them. She should be on the court more than fucking 20 minutes. I'm with Kennedy Carter. Like, you got Jewel Lloyd out here stinking it up, getting 30 minutes. You got, like, Kennedy Carter can't get more than 19, whatever minutes she's getting. I agree with her. Now, I understand she just got back in the league. People want her to be a certain way. At the end of the day, she's more talented than a lot of these women in this league. She's doing things that only Asia Wilson is doing, Kelsey Plum is doing. There's not a lot of people like that. So she has a right to feel how she feels, in my opinion. All
Yeah,
right.
that lands on what Becky thinks, right? I was thinking about it myself this morning, Ski, and not that this has anything to do with point spreads or anything. Sorry, guys, that I'm kind of continuing the conversation here. But Becky might be like, championship team. Hard for
Mhm.
me to take minutes away, only 6 games in. Let Kennedy go out there and prove it for 10 or 15, and I could start taking minutes away from somebody. It could be one of those deals where Kennedy Carter just has to be a little patient, and maybe
Yeah.
that's the way Becky sees it. I'm not sure. I'm not in that locker room, but you're absolutely right. If you watch Kennedy Carter handle the basketball, and the way she gets to the basket whenever she wants to, like where she wants to go, she goes. We're watching players in this league that I don't know. I saw some reverse layups last night, Skee, that looked like the kids I used to coach in church league when they were 10. So I would agree with you that she probably deserves more minutes. It could be like a seniority type thing with Becky where those minutes will come. We'll see how it goes.
We shall see. Um, well, let's do a little bit of promo like we usually do. I think we did a good enough job breaking the games down. So it is $5 Tuesday. You can go to either Rob or you can go to Rob and my page, pick up a top play for just $5. Check us out, see if you want to rock with us a little longer. And I will throw this one out there because this is one of the good old faithfuls that's still going around. The buy three, get three free. Maybe you want to check us out today with the $5 Tuesday and say, hey, you know what? Let's make it a week with the buy three, get three free, 6 days for $69. A couple of different ways to get involved. Veno, unless there's anything else you'd like to promote, we usually don't give best bets on $5 Tuesday. Anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
No, I think that about covers it. I will say that 3 for 3 is 3+3 is a pretty good deal, guys. And for myself, very quickly here, if you took 3 and get 3 free, it's going to get you through the football weekend. UFL has playoffs this weekend. I'll be involved. The Canadian Football League week 1 is this week. I'll be involved. So you're going to get a couple of footballs from me all summer long here. 3+3, pretty good way to go.
All right, good stuff. And yeah, we'll wrap it up tomorrow. We will have some NBA to talk about. That'll be pretty good. NBA Finals Game 1. We'll continue to break down the W. Best of luck, everybody, on all your action tonight, and we will catch you tomorrow.